Hey, this is Jim.
Hey, this is Corey.
On today's episode, we have trick tailgates.
And quadruple digit torque numbers here.
And what goes along with that, massive towing capacity. So we'll check it all out. Here we go.
Let's go.
All right, so we're back again. And this time, I wanted to start with something that has been catching my eye a lot lately. And that is all the new trick tailgates that are coming out. And this kind of started, I would say, a year or two ago, I guess 2018, with Ford. And Ford started off with something minor with their step. You've seen that in the regular F-150, also in the Raptor. I'll pull up a picture here. There you go. So yeah, so start off with this. So you got your pull-out step, which is nice, makes it easier to get in and out of the bed. And then you've got that little pull-out handle, handrail that kind of helps you get in and out. And I thought that was pretty cool, pretty useful, and it's gonna tuck in nicely to the tailgate, and it's not really that big of a deal. And I like.
Wonder how those hold up.
Yeah, right. Well, that's going to be getting to my next point. But yeah, I agree. Like this seemed like a nice addition, relatively simple, straightforward, really useful. So now moving along, we get up to the new 2019 Ram. So the new 2019 Ram is taking it a couple of steps further here. First of all, as you can see with the tailgate, you've got barn door style opening. It's asymmetrical. It's bigger on one side, and then in addition to that, so it'll open up either way, also fold down just like a regular tailgate. And so here's the idea. I guess it's also got the little step there you can see at the bottom.
Oh yeah, it comes out of the bumper.
Yeah. So easier entry and exit. That's great. The idea of the split tailgate is that you can get stuff in and out of the bed without without having to go over the lift gate. So if you're trying to load something large in there, like from a forklift or something like that, you just don't have to lift over or put it on the tailgate and slide.
Yeah.
You put it right into the bed. And so I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, that looks all right. It could be. It starts to worry me a little bit more about the strength of the tailgate over time when it can fold from both from the center and from the sides like a regular tailgate.
So does it do both?
Yeah. Yeah, look, so it opens like this.
Mm-hmm.
Then it can also just hold down like regular tailgate. It's got to. They can't do away with the regular tailgate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's too useful. That's how you put in longer loads and everything else. So I would need to really see it in person to see.
It's interesting because I guess this is a new option kind of through the year because the 2019 Ram was introduced fall.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's been no word until now. So
right.
I wonder if it was not ready or what. So this is kind of a cool, extra thing that people didn't think they were getting.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's like $1,000 option, something like that. So it's definitely not standard. But I feel like the Ford one, I think that's good. That's just good, smart addition to a standard truck tailgate. This one starts to get a little borderline, maybe with gimmicky. I still want to know about long-term durability, but could definitely be useful as long as it can do both.
Mm-hmm.
But then here's the big one, and this has been out for a little while. But so GMC Sierra, the 6-way tailgate. Have you seen this at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
it's pretty slick.
This one it's slick, but this one I feel like definitely pushes the limits into being gimmicky. And you just feel like you're going to start having problems with your tailgate, and that's not something you usually think about as going wrong on your truck. So yeah, so it folds down, doing nice big steps. The same thing, it aids you getting in and out of the bed. But this one does a lot more than that. I'll kind of scroll down and keep showing. So it does still operate, obviously as a normal tailgate. It's got the little lid here. This flips up and gives you kind of a backstop. So if you have if you're hauling, say, plywood, stuff like that, where you need the extra length from the tailgate down, but you still have a nice lip at the end to keep the load secure. So that's kind of neat. So they show it there.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is where I think it starts going over the top. When you have it all the way down like this, okay, so that's a step idea, and then there's a little rail in there, a little handrail to help you in and out. But this is my problem. So look at this thing, and what do you see? Do you notice anything about how large that step is and where it is?
Yeah. Well, and doesn't it have speakers in it?
I think I heard some of that. It's supposed to add in a bunch of features like that.
But that's where I thought the gimmicky come.
Yeah, and that's gimmicky. But this is what I don't like: is what do a lot of people have hanging out of the back of their trucks? A hitch.
Hitch? Oh yeah.
What about a hitch? Look at that. Is that going to clear a hitch? And if it does clear a hitch, it's not going to clear all hitches. There's a bunch of different types you can put on there. It's some really larger.
People are going to forget, and they're going to lower it and just.
They're going to drop it right into the hitch. I guarantee you that you'll see a bunch of these on the road, and every fifth one will have a big dent from a hitch on there. And that's where I feel like they might be starting to go, just kind of go over the top. And I don't know. It just my usual.
I mean, it depends on the drop.
It's going to add cost. It's going to add complexity, and I will be interested to see the long-term durability with all of these.
Yeah.
And I like the innovation, right? But I feel like with most things, sometimes they kind of take it over the top, and now I feel like they're just trying to justify higher and higher prices with the truck, where I don't know if it's actually adding that much to. Not much to it. I mean, you look actually from this picture. This is a good shot because it shows a while back. I think it was 2014 is when GM started putting in the bumper steps.
Oh, that was the big thing.
Yeah, and that was into all their trucks, even the smaller trucks, even the Canyon and the Colorado. They all have them, and that is pretty much all you need. You flip that down, you grab the side of the bed there, and you put your foot in there. It's no big deal to get in and out. Like that's probably sufficient, just like the Fords. I think that's a little more than that, but still it's enough to get the job done without being over the top gimmicky.
Yeah, well, I feel like this is so you got a step, you got a handle. It's like, are you trying to get 80-year-old people in here,
right?
Or small kids? I mean,
right.
if you're doing work truck things, you should also have the physical ability to get into a regular pickup.
Yeah, like the way people have been doing it for the first 100 years. Pickup
it's not like people are like, oh, I'm not going to buy pickups because it's too hard to get into. No, that's like the number one seller. So
yeah. No. Pretty soon we'll have the little electric chairlift that flops down.
Are any of these power? I feel like that'll be the next thing. The power little lift.
Yes. No. Who was it? Somebody had a power tailgate.
Yeah.
Pretty positive. Shoot, I feel like I've seen that. Maybe up and coming. I don't know if anybody has it quite yet, but they like. So okay.
Obviously, the thing. So they can be heavy, but now they're aluminum. They're lighter, and they have a soft open type feature.
Right, and that's awesome. That's awesome. And putting in some sort of a bumper step or the step like the Fords, fantastic. Those are things that should be improved. The rest of the stuff, I think they're taking it a step too far. That's my opinion.
They're all options, though, aren't they?
So
the Ram, the barn door on the Ram is optional.
Mm-hmm.
This probably depends on package of the Sierra.
Yeah.
Like maybe it comes standard on the Denali or something.
Yeah.
But maybe optional on others. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't. Right. It's definitely optional, and they're either even showing it on a Denali package right now. It's definitely an optional thing.
What I really like is the Ram box. Have you seen that?
Yes, that I love.
So it fills
Ram
up.
Box would be standard. That's optional too, which bugs me because that should just be standard. Like,
yeah.
Like why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just using empty space.
Yeah, and creating some sort of covered
lockable storage. Yeah,
on the bed of the truck. That's fantastic. Without having to have a truck, an actual truck box, which I don't really like the look, and it takes up bed length.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Ram box is awesome. All right, so what do you got?
All right, so continuing the truck theme. So yeah, tons of truck news because, well, the Silverado is all new this year, right? The Ram is all new. The F-150 is not, but they have some new heavy duty stuff. And so, yeah, I guess the theme is the heavy duty. So, Ram came out with obviously the refresh of the 2019 Ram, and now they are refreshing the heavy duty. And the big news is there. They were king of the hill for a little bit, just a little bit, at towing capacity. So dually, gooseneck, big 35,000 pounds, which is insane. That's with the Cummins. So the Cummins now has the big quadruple digit 1,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Yep. 400 horse,
Mhm.
400 horse, 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, and that max torque figure comes at 1,800 RPMs.
Yes.
So it's pretty much an electric.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
so, and I think that was last week or the week before. And then so GM came back to town, and I guess they didn't want to be outdone. Now, so GM has in their diesel. Let's see the stats here. So they have a new diesel as well. 445 horse. Torque is 910. Yep. But there's a couple things there. Number one, their towing. They have max towing has surpassed the Ram at 35.5.
Bam.
And I also, saw that the 910 foot-pounds are all available in first gear. Some of the trucks, I believe, or at least maybe last generation GM, limited some of the torque down low, just I guess so you wouldn't melt the transmission or the tires.
Oh, okay.
But it is now they've beefed up the transmission, so now it is all there in first gear. I forget what RPM. It's low, but it's not a stat that I have.
So here's what I got on this. 'Cause obviously I had similar stuff, but yeah. So actually, I think you said 35.5 was the Ram. So 35.5 is the new number.
No, 35.1 is the Ram.
I know. Okay, last I looked it up. Last I saw on the Ram was 31,002. That was their max tow figure recently, and Chevy bumped it. So here's the deal. So Chevy, this is as I got it here. So Chevy had let's see. There's a couple things that are interesting about the Chevrolet. First of all, the previous Duramax diesel was also 6.6 liter, was also 445 horsepower, and was also 910 foot-pounds of torque. So it had the same output, but they've done some things to beef up that engine, and obviously it must have done some stuff to the suspension and everything else to up the towing capacity. But the towing capacity jumped 50%. Before, the towing capacity was somewhere in the like 22,000 pound range.
Yeah.
And it jumped to 35.5. So that's a massive jump without adding extra power, though. Of course, I mean, how much higher than 910 foot-pounds of torque are you going to go?
Right.
Like, there's plenty of power there. That's not the issue. So anyway, I just thought that was crazy. Number one, how big the numbers are getting. 35,000 and 35,000 pounds. That's nuts. And the difference is the difference between, say, the Ram and this, somewhere in between the 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 pound range. These differences are like the max towing capacity of my Xterra, like absolute
right.
max. That's just the differences between these two. It's just getting ridiculous. But then the fact that they didn't up the power or anything like that on the Duramax, I figured they would have tweaked it just a little bit just to get it up to 1,000 foot-pounds, just so they can claim 1,000 like the Ram. And then the one other thing I was going to say, which is kind of cool, which is one of the reasons why I've always loved Cummins, but the Cummins diesel is the only one that's just an inline six. So 6.7 liters, so a little bit larger than the Duramax, but you got 2 less cylinders. So you can imagine how big those freaking cylinders are.
Yeah.
So inline six, putting out that kind of power. I love it.
So I did just look. So it is 35,000 for the Ram.
It is now? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been,
But it's like 35.
One too. That must have been the previous generation. Then,
Yeah.
I guess.
I saw 35, and then I saw 35.1 because I was reading that the GM is, eclipsed it by 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And let's see.
There it is. Look, recently updated Ram towing capacity 35.1.
Yeah.
So that is it. 400 horsepower. So you got a little less horse, but then you got 1,000 pounds of torque. Mm-hmm. It's insanity.
Yeah.
On a side note, so I remember seeing this article when it first came out not long ago. That's probably like this particular picture. The other picture we were looking at before of that reddish one didn't look nearly as bad, but that's not a good look. That's not a good looking grill.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have a ton of. So with all the different packages and trims, they have a bunch of different grills. So you have all these different looks. Same thing with the Ram.
Even for the HD.
Mm-hmm. Here, I will. Do I have the HD here? Here, let me share my screen real quick.
Yeah. Let me drop one. Okay.
So here's the HD. So you got all the different trims have different grills with either various amounts of chrome. You got LTZ. Are you seeing this, by the way?
I don't see it.
Okay, hold on. All right.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. So we got the High Country, LTZ, different grill. LT. This is close to what we were looking at.
Yeah, looks the
custom.
same.
Here's custom. So that's the one, the other red one.
So I guess it's painted where it says Chevy in the center. That's body color versus chrome. Well, that's black. Okay. Yeah, go to the first one. Wasn't it chromed in the first one?
A lot of chrome, no stamped Chevrolet.
Yeah.
And then so it's like the design above and below Chevrolet is different, I guess, on each trim.
Okay, I think the High Country is the best look to me.
I like this one. I think I like the custom.
Yeah.
It looks more mean, and it's not as like it's too much chrome.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Glenn's truck is I assume it's 2018. Mm-hmm. 2018 2500 HD Duramax.
He just missed it.
Allison. Well, but that's my point.
Did he get a crazy deal?
I assume so. But he got it, and it's got the same engine, so it's got the same output, 445 and 910. The funniest part, he didn't know that. So when we were driving around, and I told him, he was like, "What?
He didn't know that?
No.
What?
He knew it was a ton, but I was joking with him about how much, because it's overkill. He doesn't need that much. Doesn't need that much towing capacity, but he just wanted it. And so I was like, yeah, well, since you got 900 foot-pounds of torque, tow whatever you want, whatever we're talking about at the time. And he was just like, what? I said, yeah, 900. He's like, 900. I think he thought it was like 650, something like that. Yeah. So out of control. It's a ruckus.
Here, I will stop sharing here if I can remember how to work this thing. And so the other just few updates with some of these is that they've also redone transmissions. So GM has got they have a new 10-speed for the, by the way, so they got a couple new things. They got a new 6.6 liter V8 GM for the heavy duties to also replace the older heavy duty V8. And it's going to be, it's 401 horse.
You're talking gas?
Yeah, gas.
Okay, yeah.
So they've got a new diesel. Well,
no, they upgraded it in some ways. I don't really know what those ways are yet. I'm sure it has to do with cooling and things like that are going to assist with heavy duty towing. But
and then new gas V8. So 6.6 liter, 401 horse, 464 foot-pounds of torque, and can run on regular with those to get those numbers. Got some forged internals. They said forged crankshaft, forged piston rods. And then they also have a new 10-speed for that engine. And they have a new 10-speed Allison for the diesel.
Okay.
That's been really beefed up. So I thought that was cool. And then what else we have? Ford. So don't forget Ford here, but Ford has developed a new V8, 7.3 liter gas V8 to replace the old 6.2. Yes.
What?
Mm-hmm.
What? Really? Okay.
So they went 7.3, naturally aspirated, and so there's no stats. They have not released the stats on it. The 6.2 outgoing is 385 horse, 430 torque. So of course the speculation is that it's going to have more, but nobody knows how much yet. So I thought that was interesting.
Guys are going with that large, the V8's getting large, especially because, I just assumed they would have eco boosted, something.
Right. I'm glad they're not though.
Anybody wants heavy, and then if anybody wants heavy duty towing, pretty much. I mean, I wonder what are the percentages of HDs that are sold without diesel? Pretty much anytime you see, 350s or 3500s or, any of these, when you get into the HDs, I wonder what the option, the percentages of them sold with diesel. It's got to be
much higher.
Most of them. Yeah.
So I like that they're not abandoning or just going with EcoBoost.
Yeah.
Also, it gives hope because there's always the rumor of people talk about, is the next Raptor going to have this new V8?
Oh my gosh, 7.3.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is enormous. Yep. Sweet.
Go for that one. So there are a ton more stats, but I just don't have them. So maybe if we decide to come back to it, I'll dig up some more information because there's a lot of good stuff with just a lot of, again, reworking of the transmissions for both 2 new transmissions on the GM side. Ram, I don't think the transmissions are new. They've started mating the 8-speed to some of the engines, so maybe a new combination. But
so when do we get to see the 35,000-pound Ike Gauntlet?
Oh, I'm sure that's coming.
No, it's got to be coming.
It's coming.
Got to see that. That is.
I want to know what does that load look like?
I know.
What is it? What is 35,000 pounds? Just a massive trailer and then some, water totes or just a ton of cement or,
Yeah, I mean they're right. They'll have to get one of those, a massive trailer and then just load it with. Yeah, I don't know. Water tanks, things like that. Something. But even at that, I mean, 35,000 pounds.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
Yeah, so that'll be good.
Yep.
What else? I think that's all. I know there's something else, but
there's lots of things. That might be it for today.
That's what happens when I got the day job and I do my research right before the show.
Yeah. Can you tell?
I hope our one subscriber doesn't mind.
Yeah. Make sure to comment below.
Yep. We will leave links to all the good new heavy duty stuff.
All right. Sounds very good.
All right.
Later. Next time. All right. Bye.